evening. My name is Filip. I work for a 96-year-old technology company, and I appreciate your time. I have 80 slides in 900 seconds, and we're going to talk about how travel is going to change over the next few years. So let's first look back at what happened and how much has changed in just the last 2 decades. In 2005, when web and travel started, those were the headlines that we saw around the globe. So the London bombings, Hurricane Katrina, and a tiny website was born, which developed over time. This is a site that pretty much looks the same even today, but the scale is quite a bit bigger. That's how we searched for hotels in 2005. This is how we searched for flights in 2005. And again, not a lot has changed here, from an airport to another airport in a couple of dates. The world back then, 1 billion users of the internet. 19% was online travel. We can argue about the numbers, Yuhun, and the biggest travel company was American Express. If we look at the online versus offline shift, that was about 10 years of us talking at conferences. This has happened. Right now it's like close, above 70%, different sources say it at a different time, but now we can say that we're online. The world today, 5.4 billion internet users, everyone's connected, 70% online travel. We don't say this, but the biggest company in travel is actually Google, given how much traffic they send to the different places. So the web changed the way we shop. That was one of the trends in the last 20 years. Mobile, 2005, 2013. In just a few years, mobile actually took over. The growth that we've seen in terms of smartphone ownership is incredible. It's 132 times bigger. Granted, in 2005, we didn't have a lot of smartphones, but you can see that anyone who is connected to the internet today actually does it through a smartphone. In 2005, we were connected. We would spend more time together with each other, explore the world without a screen in front of our face. In today's world, we're spending 4.5 hours on our screens every single day. On average, we pick up our phones 58 times, and 1.5 billion people, if they pass the test, would be clinically certified as addicted to their phones. I see some of you on the phones taking them away. That's a good sign. All right, so travel went mobile, which is quite interesting. We continue on. Online travel payments growth. We just heard about payments. I think this is going to continue to be the theme in the future, but 75% online travel payments today. If we take a look at what it was before, that, by the way, is an actual flight that I took 4 days after what happened. Today, everything is on your phone. And everyone has been talking about the connected trip. We just heard from some of the speakers before, but that has been the theme in the last like 5-7 years. A connected trip is to manage everything for you, human travel agent in your pocket. Sounds amazing. When you hear that, this is a shortcut for how do we sell more to actually our customers. 30% of Booking.com's growth in connected trip transactions, 20% Airbnb's traveler spend from upsell, and 75% of Trip.com's group transactions happen on mobile, which all of them mean we will sell more to our users. So the connected trip up till now has been about selling more, not necessarily making it easier for the traveler. Now, the mobile wallet spend 10 trillion today, 3.5 billion monthly active users, 85% in Asia happens, in terms of payments, happens on a mobile, 90% in China, and I agree with Omri that we're not going to see cash in 20 years. Payments made travel seamless. Now, what happened as well is we had a bunch of new players and they created new supply. Airbnb, we didn't think we would pay to stay at somebody else's home on their couch. Well, actually, that's a business now. Uber was born. Kiwi created virtual interlining and actually scaled it even though it existed before. Klook is taking offline tours and attractions online. So new supply was created. I would be remiss if I don't have an airline data slide here, but you can see the growth in terms of airline seat capacity that happened. Most of you can guess what happened in about 2019. What is interesting is that Asia didn't reduce their capacity that much, but there is a lot more supply than ever before, and it is still growing. Leisure travel growth, this is BCG numbers, so I don't know if they're right, but we expect them to be 15 trillion in the next 15 years. So that's a big number, big market to go after. The pie got bigger. Now, this is the story of some of the companies that Booking.com has bought over time. 2005 was the purchase of Booking by Priceline. You can see a number of transactions up till today, and I think there's going to be more activity in that space. Expedia is pretty similar, even though they've divested from some of their assets. Recently, they still bought a lot of companies on the way. That happens in travel a lot. Trip.com acquired a number of companies, Amadeus, Delta, Airbnb. If you are a startup, this is a short chart that you should take. Are you older than 10 years? If yes, did you get acquired? If no, did you acquire other companies? If you follow the path, you have a chance of success. If not, most likely, you're not going to survive in travel technology. All right, scale one. So the 5 trends in the last 20 years: online mobile payments, new supply, and scale. Let's take a look at the last 2 years super quickly of the last 20. The time it took to reach 100 million users. The fastest airline to do this was Indigo, and it took 17 years to get to 100 million passengers. TikTok, when I did that slide 9 years ago, was the fastest one. ChatGPT, any guesses? 2 months is the time it took them to reach 100 million users. Mary Meeker, in her report about AI, and clearly we're in the AI era, that report is 360 pages. She used the word unprecedented 58 times, and the enablers being big data and cloud and GPUs. Same thing happens, and we're in the super cycle anyway. A lot of people said, is that a bust? Like a couple of years ago, it clearly isn't if you follow the trends. We had desktop, mobile, cloud, and now we're fully into AI. ChatGPT users, 700 million monthly active users. I think this is going to push to 1 billion very soon. 50% of the US businesses are already paying for AI solutions. I'm going fast. I hope to share the presentation after that. ChatGPT is eating away at Google, which we didn't think was going to happen, but it's like 5 times more now. And then Google took 20 years to be on everyone's phone. There is a company, if you haven't heard of it, that company moved from 1 million in revenue to 500 million in ARR in 17 months. Crazy. All right, so the page just went vertical. Now AI is doing everything in the travel cycle. This is inspiration. You can go and get inspired by just asking a question. You can actually plan it. I guess a lot of you have tried this in ChatGPT or any other form. You can also book it. And according to Mark Zuckerberg, you should be experiencing it and feeding back the big engines for Meta. So AI is actually real. It's happening. It is with us. And that crazy assistant that we've been talking about, for anyone who has seen the movie, this is true. And it's not in the future. It is right now. Money is flowing. Stakes are rising. So buckle up, any one of you in travel. This is going to get even faster. I do have 7 minutes left. So let's talk about what's going to happen in the next 20 years. All right, for anyone who speaks that language, I hope I didn't misrepresent it massively, but let's take a look at 10 bets in the next 20 years. It is really hard to make any bets in the future because everything's changing so fast. So what I thought is like, what if we asked ourselves, what will not change in the next 20 years? And based on that, decide then how things will evolve over time. So the first one, travel will be stressful. And I believe it always will be stressful. All of us know what this looks like when you land, when you take off, when you're trying to rush to the airport, especially when something changes. It is a miserable experience. And I hope that in the future, we're going to have an agent relieve our stress. So instead of waiting online and being charged like 20p for every minute you're holding up on the line, this will be a lot of it will be taken care of way ahead of time, maybe even with suggestions. Number 9, we always prefer lower price for the same quality. I agree that people will fundamentally like to pay less. I don't think price comparison is going away at any point soon, but I do believe that in the future, the deal will be a lot more personal. We've been talking about personalization for the last 15 years. I think right now it is actually happening. And I'm moving a lot, so let me stay here put. We are all control freaks. Deep down. I don't think that's going to change. We want to have the ability to control things. And that means that we have to make the final decision. When an agent comes to us, it will be great, but it has to be us to make the final call. It cannot just automatically go and book it for you. So agents will recommend, but we will decide as customers. Number 7, we are all lazy, admit it, even though you say you work 996. We like to do less work and get the same result out. There is a beauty in travel because you want to have a little bit of inspiration, and I'm going to come back to this, but fundamentally, you don't want to spend 2.5 hours opening up like 19 different tabs and applications to check out how you book your travel. So the future is less work, especially when you go through the travel funnel. Less planning, a lot of it done for you. Number 6, we still crave a little magic. So As we explore the world, typically we'll go to the places that are famous, Instagrammable, but sometimes we want to go off the beaten track. We want to be a little bit more excited about what's around us so that we can be surprised and delighted. I do believe that agents will add serendipity. Right now, they're incredibly, incredibly efficient to the point where it's just really annoying and they say whatever you want them to say. But I do hope that we'll see an agentic world where we're going to have a little bit of a surprise. Nice little thing that is attuned to us. Number 5, travel supply will always be fragmented. No matter how many layers we add in the middle of it, it's always fragmentation in travel. And that's the beauty of it. We have 900 airlines, we have millions of hotels and places to go to, even more tours and attractions. And the companies who have aggregated that fragmentation have done really well. Skyscanner, WeGo, Booking, all of the big travel companies are actually aggregators in a sense. I do believe this will remain. But I actually do hope that a trip will be one journey. Instead of trying to sell somebody another hotel, another booking attraction, I hope that we will see a seamless journey end-to-end with an agent that is really helping us through this trip, as opposed to like, this is a sale point, this is a selling point, this is another selling point. Number 4, infrastructure will never keep up with demand. I don't think we talk about this enough. Technology is moving so fast. We're making sure that payments are seamless. We have billions of people connected to the internet, but at the end of the day, if you want to travel to a different country, chances are you're going to go to an airport, you're going to get on a plane, and then you need to fly and land. I don't think we're keeping up with the infrastructure demands that the future world is suggesting to us. I think Asia will do well. I think the Middle East will do well because they're engaging on those long-term projects, but sad news for my home continent, Europe, we're not investing enough in that. So I think this will be a problem. The way to fight it a little bit is intelligence. We have to be a lot better at utilizing the capacity that we currently have, and I think we should unlock it with a lot more information and data and AI to make sure that we use to the most of our abilities whatever infrastructure we have. Number 3, the invisible hand will guide us to new frontiers. You've experienced this. You go to a place, you're so excited to see it because you've seen it on TikTok and Instagram, and all of a sudden it's so crowded you cannot even get a picture in. Over-tourism is a thing. I heard a stat yesterday, which I'm going to repeat. 70% of the travelers go to 44% of the places. And that is unbelievable. So we need to go and solve for this. I do hope that the demand will find the hidden gems. By that, what I mean is that the agents will guide us to different locations where we can go and safely explore. Number 2, trust and travel go hand in hand. I think we repeated that theme a couple of times, but ultimately you need to trust the provider of the travel service, you need to trust the payment information, you need to trust the agent. I think in the future, we'll trust the agent who proves themselves over time. I don't think it's going to be a one-off. And it's a really high bar. I mean, once you get it wrong, you probably will lose a lot of trust. But agents that use a lot of information will do better and they'll win our trust. Which brings me to the prediction, which I call number 1. It always takes believers to reimagine travel. Most of you in this room have built companies, scaled companies. You're the reason why travel has progressed so much. We see some of those folks on stage. Suho, thank you for the invitation. I'm getting a little bit emotional because I know how hard it is to go into a new area and create a product over time and spend 20 years building it and revamping it. So super thankful for those of you in the room who are on these slides and those who are not. Stefan, Gareth, Ross, Deep, the folks from Klook who started on the web in travel stage, by the way, for those of you who remember. So it always takes believers to reimagine travel. And usually that's the people who are outsiders, who just go and say, I don't know what's impossible, let me just go and try to do it. I think in the next 20 years, in this cycle, my bet for the future is that I will bet on the incumbents. They have the scale, they have the aggregation, they've learned the lessons, they can apply technology a lot faster. Now the technology that 2 people in the garage are building is available to any big company and they can go as fast as possible. So those are my bets. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you and your time going through the last 20 years and looking into the next 20. That is me. I tried to get a picture in the last 20 years at Web in Travel, but Again, to finish it off, my name is Philip. I work for a 96-year-old company in travel technology, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Oh, the next 2 hours, what's